Hey guys, it's Sam with another RizomUV video, and in this quick tip I want to talk about default settings. So let's hop on over to the program and take a look. Okay, here we are in RizomUV, but I wanted to go over how default settings were handled in old versions. So I'm actually in 2024 here, and if I go to Edit, Preferences, and at the top we see this default values. And if I drop this down, there's a limited set of values here that you can set defaults for. So if I wanted to change the texel density to something else, or even the margin and the padding, I could change that here. And when I closed RizomUV, the next time I opened it, it would adhere to whatever you've set these settings to. But as I said, these are limited, and this is how things were done in older versions of RizomUV. So here we are in 2025, and default settings are handled a little bit differently, and this will apply from RizomUV 2025 and upwards. So let's go to the Edit menu, Preferences, and you'll see that there is no longer a default settings section here. So let's close this and look at how it is dealt with. Unlike before, default settings are not limited to a restricted list in the Preferences folder, as we just seen. Now, you can right-click on any setting within RizomUV, and you'll have the option as Set as Default or Restore Factory Default. So in this case, let's take a look at margin, and I'm just going to crank this up to something ridiculous like 50. So now we've got this, and if I right-click and say Set as Default, this is now saved as the default. So if I was to close RizomUV now and reopen it, this value will remain. So let's do that. Let's close RizomUV, and I'm going to reopen it. And you can see that default value was saved. And I can do this with any number of other values as well. So let's change this to 60, right click and say Set as Default. I can even do it for things like, let's have a look at the back face render view. I can change this to front only. Right click on it and say Set as Default. That's now saved. I can even do it for things like, let's have a look at the select menu here. I personally don't like this setting because I'm left-handed. So I usually change this to select visible because that's my preference. So now I can right click on this and say Set as Default. So I can go through all my settings and set them to exactly what my preferences are and save them. So the next time I open up RizomUV, everything's set as I want it to be. There is another setting in that menu. So if I go back up to my margin here and right click, you'll see we've got the Set as Default, as I've just explained. And underneath we've got Restore Factory Default. And if I press that, it will return to what the default of the program originally was. And the same for padding, so I can go there, restore to factory default, and it's gone back to 16. You may be thinking, well, what if I went through RizomUV and changed lots of things? I don't really want to have to go right-click, restore factory default, then go to the next setting I changed and do the same there, and go through the many, many settings you may have done this in. Is there a way that I can reset them all together? And there is. You just go to Edit, Preferences, Reset All, and this will reset not only your preferences but all of the custom defaults you may have set throughout the UI. There is an exception to these custom defaults, and that's when saving a model. So let me explain this. If I set my margin to something absolutely silly, 50, so we can see it here, and we'll set our padding to, again, 60, and then I save both of these as a default. They are now my defaults. Now, if I was to load a model, and we can give this a pack quickly, I could then set this to something like 8 and 16, and pack again, and then save my model. So that's saved now. Now, if I close RizomUV and then open it again, the defaults that I've just set should be visible, and they are margin 50, padding 60. But let's open my model again. you'll see that the margin has returned to 8 and the padding 16. And that's because these are the values that were present when I saved my FBX. So just keep in mind that some values in RizomUV are actually saved to the FBX itself. It should be said that these default settings apply to many settings throughout RizomUV. Obviously in this video it's a non-exhaustive list, but for example, if I wanted RizomUV to start without the distortion view but more a topology view, I can do that. I can set this as a default. I can even set the map resolution to something else and set this as a default as well. I can even go into my packing settings and say, hey, I want my packing strategy to be padding perfect by default, and set that as default, along with any other setting in here I can set as default. So this way you can set up RizomUV exactly how you'd like it to be every time you open it across many settings. I hope you guys found this quick tip useful, and I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for video updates. You can check us out on social media, Discord and our website, links in the description. And if you're looking for more RizomUV content, you can choose one of these videos on screen. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.